Hello, welcome back. Today is a yin style practice. So today's practice, you're gonna want your mat, maybe even some extra cushion, a blanket sometimes is really nice for yin yoga if you're on a hard surface. Also, it'll be handy to have a block or two. It's always nice for yin yoga. If you don't have blocks, don't sweat it. If you have a throw cushion or a pillow or a blanket rolled up or a towel, you can always go ahead and grab that and just have it off to the side in case. As we move through the practice, yin style is holding these gentle stretches for 3 to 5 minutes, and you want to feel comfortable. It's not to say that we won't have moments of sort of discomfort or challenge, but you don't want anything poking into you, or soreness on the ankles, things of that nature. So if you want to take a moment to pause the video and go grab what you need, otherwise, when you're ready, we're going to get started. So today's practice, we're going to go back to the basics and run through a quick 30-minute full body yin yoga. So we're going to start in geisha style, sitting on our heels. If that is uncomfortable for you, if you have any knee issues, you can use some blocks, place it under, and take the pressure off. So the higher you are, the gentler it will be, okay? If it really does not work for you, just come to a cross-legged or a butterfly or an extended leg out, okay? It's just for our opening meditation. So once you find that comfortable position for yourself, just close the eyes and just allow yourself to go inward. Allow yourself to let go of your wonderful day so far. And just giving yourself permission to be in the present moment. And we encourage this by tuning into our breath and just allow it to smooth out and soften. We do this by physically letting go and softening through the body. So softening the shoulders, softening the skin on the face, relaxing the jaw, letting go of any tension that you're feeling in the belly. And just allow the belly to hang off your frame. Soften your hands and your fingers. And just really allow yourself to find this moment. Find the stillness, find the peace in the mind, and just focus on letting go. Letting go the to-do list, let go of any worries, even let go of any excitement or joy that you're planning ahead. Just really giving yourself permission to practice mindfulness, practice being in the present moment. Just bringing your focus to your hips, your belly, your shoulders. And just try to let go a little bit more in those areas. So as we move through the practice, just bring some focus to softening as we find the stillness in each pose. Letting go of any expectations of what you should look like in any of the poses and just be with the sensations. The real yoga is happening on the inside. So don't sweat what you look like on the outside. There's no right or wrong. If something doesn't feel right, listen to that sensation and make an adjustment. It's not to say that there won't be moments of challenge or discomfort, but there should never be pain in yin yoga. So if there's something that's burning, pinching, numbness, something that feels vulnerable, make the adjustment. Find a sweet spot for yourself. So we'll just take 3 nice letting go breaths here. So we're going to inhale through the nose and a big sigh, exhale through the mouth. We'll do that 2 more times. And then when you're ready, you can just slowly open your eyes and arrive. So just gently coming out of this rock pose, geisha style pose here, the knees and the feet and the ankles can feel a little stiff, probably 20 years older than you actually are. So just take your time. If you have any blocks or a blanket underneath you, just remove it out of the way. And we're gonna come to one standing pose, real only standing pose in Yin Yoga, our waterfall pose. So just finding a nice placement for your feet, so hip width apart, and just allowing the upper body to fall forward. You can certainly put a bend in the knees and as deep as feels comfortable for you. It could be certainly really deep and just rest the back of the elbows on the knees. I can show you here from the side. And that might feel better for you, especially if you have tight hamstrings or calves. Otherwise, just finding the degree that works for you, okay? Not sweating whether you have straight legs or not. That's not the point of this pose. The point of a waterfall pose is just to have a nice opening for the back body, allowing the weight of the head and the shoulders and the neck to open up your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes, your spine, making space between all those vertebrae. Okay. And just getting a nice stretch. And just letting go. So just finding that first edge. So there's 3 main principles of Yin Yoga. The first one, we say we find our edge. And when we say this, we mean just coming out just outside your comfort zone where you're feeling a nice stretch, but you're not overdoing it in any manner. There's no pain, there's no gripping or trying to grasp to hold on to it. And a great judge of knowing whether you've gone too far is to be mindful of the breath. If your breath becomes staggered, choppy, chest-like breathing, this is a sign that you've gone too deep and you need to back off. You want to stay somewhere where the breath is smooth, where you can relax and soften, where you feel at ease. And this is the mindset really of all forms of yoga that you really want to be with. You want to be moving through with compassion and love, really triggering into that rest and digest side of you, that healing, rejuvenating side. So staying with that mindset and getting the bonus by being in these longer held stretches, we get the bonus of stretching out through the physical body. So we get the bonus of getting a nice stretch for the muscles, but also we go deeper over time. As we hold for time, we go into the connective tissue and the fascia, the areas that make up our joint, our ligaments, our tendons. And these areas get quite tight. You think about your hips or your shoulders, how tight they can get. And our joints, the way they like to be worked is in these long held medium stretches. Our muscles, they're the ones, they like that back and forth and up and down and pulling and tearing. But when we do that, which is great for the muscles, it puts strain on our joints. So we need to balance that out and keep our joints strong as we move through life by doing long held stretches. So we're just here for about another 45 seconds or so, but at any time as we move through these these asanas, these poses. If the time just seems like too much and you need to back off, go ahead and back off. If you need to come out of the pose completely, please come out of the pose. You can always rebound by lying on your back or finding child's pose. Just knowing there's no right or wrong. The real story is happening inside you, and you need to just listen for the cues that works well for you. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath here in our waterfall pose. And then we're just gonna slowly make our way back down to our mat for a nice child's pose. So we're gonna come back to sit on those heels. So I'll just show you from the side here. So you're gonna connect your big toes, you're gonna open up your knees, and you're gonna sit back on those heels. Again, if sitting on the knees is not your friend, you can use some blocks to place between your seat and take the pressure off. If you're doing that, you may just want to come down onto the elbows and then bow your head down and just take the pressure off the knees and the ankles. Otherwise, you can sit back and you could bring either that forehead to the mat or to a block if that feels better. The arms could be out in front of you, or they may feel better alongside of you, and that's okay. If you're in a wide open knee, child's pose, another option for the hands is to tuck them underneath you and then bring your forehead down. That's always a really nice option. So whatever option you're in, own it. And allow yourself a moment or two to get comfortable before you settle in. So making any adjustments, whether it's using a prop or whether it's adding some cushion under the feet. And then again, once you settle in, it's a matter of closing those eyes and coming back to the true moment, reminding yourself to soften and let go. And just really settle in for some time here. Trying to find the stillness in the pose. Trying to find some moments of stillness in the mind as well. And it's not to say that the mind's not going to think and wonder and start to plan. That's completely normal. That's the nature of the mind. It's the practice of bringing it back. And it's the practice of noticing those moments between the thoughts. The more we can grow those moments between the thoughts, the more we target into the present moment, into our true self. The person before the thoughts. So as we sit in child's pose, just allowing the pose to do the work. No need to force this in any manner. That's when we're getting into those hips, getting a nice stretch for the ankles, the knee joint, a nice stretch for the spine. So we touched on the first principle of Yin Yoga being finding our edge. The second one is finding that stillness. And sometimes that can be hard. We often fidget. And sometimes that's because emotion can come up in a yin pose. Here in child's pose, we're sitting deeply into those hips, and hips is a storage container for emotion. In our hips, we carry our anger, our frustration, our disappointment, our embarrassments, and sometimes we don't know what's happening, but we just become a little irritated as we sit into a hip stretch. We get a little fidgety, and that's often those emotions coming to rise. And that's okay, just allow it to happen, whether you know it or not, or you just notice that you're fidgeting. Just allow yourself to soften and just accept the stretch for what it is. And just use that breath as a true anchor to keep your mind present. use it as a tool to connect to the area that you're feeling the stretch, the intensity. Our hips, most of us have a love-hate relationship with our hips. So sometimes it can get a little bit uncomfortable, but just be with that. Just allow the stillness to settle in. And the third principle of Yin Yoga is time, and that's the magic ingredient. Like I said earlier, we're stretching into our muscles, but also deeper into the connective tissues, the ligaments, the fascia, the tendons. And your muscles will take the stretch right away, no problem. They're the dominant tissue, but it takes time to get into those deeper tissues. And that's why we hold. You want to hold for about a minimum of 90 seconds or so. That's sort of where the science of it shows that we go deeper into those soft tissues of the body. And so as we settle in after those 90 seconds, that's when we get the true benefit of the stretch in those areas. So that's why we hold for the 3 to 5 minutes. So we'll just take 3 more rounds of breath here, just letting go where you need to, softening where you need to. And then when you're ready, we're just gonna slowly bring ourselves back up. Bring those knees together, just coming into a tabletop position here for a moment. If you need to stretch out and just counter that a little bit, you can always just step back each leg for a moment and just give them a stretch. And then when you're ready, we're gonna come down onto our belly. Let's show you from the side here for a Sphinx pose. So I'm lying on my belly and relaxing my feet, tops of the feet on the mat. I'm bringing my elbows directly under my shoulders. If you attempt to do this and your lower spine says, whoa, no, that's way too much, you're just gonna walk your elbows out in front until you're feeling a nice stretch on the lower spine, but it's manageable for you, okay? You're feeling that compression, but it's not overwhelming. And for some of us, it might be just lying on our bellies is enough, okay? So to whatever degree works for you, you're gonna find your sweet spot there. Then sometimes it's nice if you have a block, you can always place your forehead onto the block and just allow the head to relax there and be supported. If you don't have a block, I'm gonna wipe my palms here from my floor, but you can use the palms of your hand and just place them into the eye sockets, and that's actually a really great sensation. Getting a little stimulation, a little compression onto the eyelids, which is a great thing. So again, just settling in and letting go. This is the most important part. Just allowing the stretch, allowing the compression that you're feeling in that lower spine. So compression is bone on bone, and that is not a bad thing unless there's pain. So if you're feeling a real pinch or a pin-like pressure in a small area, normally pain, bad pain, is very localized. If you're feeling sort of this achiness across the whole lower spine, that's okay, okay? But really listen to what's okay for you and what's not okay for you. But to tell you that compression is not a bad thing is true. So when you have the bone on bone, it's stimulating the cells in those bones to wake up and do their job of becoming stronger, of rebuilding and thickening the bone, which is what we want in that lower spine, okay? And we're also having this nice back bend, right? For our lumbar spine, our lower spine. And that's in the area that often we start to lose that natural arch over time. We sit in comfortable cars, we sit on comfortable couches, we have comfortable beds, and we slouch and we lose that natural arch in our lower spine. And we need to have that. We have that arch as the makeup of how our physical body works, how our upper body supports or our lower body supports our upper body, sorry. So here we're just releasing and letting go of the tension in that region. And releasing tightness in the hips releases aches and pains in the lower back. So having the child's pose first and getting a nice stretch through the hip region, and now getting a nice compression happening in the lower back to fully release any tightness or stiffness that we may be feeling there. So when we have flexible hips, we actually have less lower back pain. So wherever you're feeling any aches or pains in your body, normally you need to concentrate both just below and above to release the tension. So again, if you feel like you'd like to go a little deeper, if you have those elbows underneath the shoulders, you can also bend the knees, open up your knees as wide as you mat, and then knock your feet together, and that will deepen into that lower spine. Now, if you come to this position and it feels like, oh no, that's just a little bit too much, I was really happy with where I was, just release and come back. That's no problem. These are just options, okay? If you're someone that has a nice arch in the lower spine, or you do a lot of Yin Yoga and you're just looking for a little bit deeper, you can always come into this next phase, okay? So again, trying to just ride that edge where you're just outside your comfort zone. That breath is still smooth. You can still close the eyes and just be with the pose, be with yourself, and be with the moment. If you're wondering what to do with the shoulder blades, you can always just sort of press them down, together and down, I should say, down the spine if that feels nice. You definitely want to have those shoulders away from the ears. You don't want your shoulders up into the ears. You want them down. So again, this is all personal preference, just finding that sweet spot that works for you. If you're really looking for a bit more here for the last 45 seconds or so, you can release those legs down and come into seal pose. Now this is a very deep back bend, okay? If you attempt this and you come up and it feels like, whoa, there's a lot of vulnerability in that lower spine, then please come back down, okay? This is just an option. If you're up here, you're just doing your best to let go of any muscle gripping in the glutes. You want to soften as much as you can in the glutes. And if you feel like you're really pinching the glutes to hold on to this pose, you're better off coming down, back onto the elbows, bend the knees, and knock the feet together, okay? If you're up in seal, you can always have the head proud, or you can bow it down if that feels better, or maybe even knock it up a little bit, okay? We're just here for 3 more rounds of breath. Again, letting go, softening, and just being with the stretch. Nice job. We're at whatever position that you're in, we're just gonna all make our way down onto our belly for a moment, just placing a cheek down. You could bring the arms alongside and just take 3 nice rounds of breath here, just to rebound and just to let go. Allowing all those cells, all those tissues, just to find their new alignment back to a better position, a more mobile, flexible position, providing you with better support. And then we're just gonna slowly bring ourselves all the way up to a seated position. I'm gonna come in to a nice little seated twist here. So from staff pose, we're gonna come into half staff. So I'm gonna take that left leg and just bring it over the right. So that left foot's coming to the outside of the right knee. I'm gonna extend my right arm long in front of me just to make space. And then I'm gonna wrap it around that left leg. I'm gonna bring that left hand behind me, Take a nice inhale. I'm gonna elongate through my core as if someone's pulling a string from the top of my head. Then as I exhale, I'm just gonna find my version of my twist. Remembering it doesn't matter how deep you're going, it matters the sensations that you're feeling. It matters that you're feeling something. If you're feeling something, you're doing it. Again, trying to find, even though it's a little bit more yang-like pose, a little more effort here, and just do your best to find that softness, that stillness. And in this, you could just ride your breath. So as you inhale, you elongate through the core. And as you exhale, maybe you deepen your twist a little bit more. And we'll take 3 more rounds of breath, just like this. And I'm going to bring my gaze back first, so my head back first, and then my whole self. And from here, I'm just going to fully cross that left knee over the right. Maybe I'll show you better from here. So that left knee is just coming over the right. I'm going to take a nice inhale, and I'm going to open up through the heart, through the chest. And then as I exhale, I'm just going to lead down with that heart, that chest. Just for a forward fold to wherever it works for you. It may be a micro movement. It may be just a slight movement. So don't sweat about how far down you come. You're just fully letting go. Up to you, you can flex the foot if that feels good for you, or you can release, or maybe a combo of both. Maybe you begin with a flexion for the first minute, and then you release. So whatever feels right for you. But I encourage you to bow that head, bow that chin towards the chest, get that nice stretch fully up the spine, so the cervical spine, the back of the neck, by allowing your head to bow forward. And just let go and soften. So here, getting a nice stretch for the whole back body, as well as deeply into that right leg and into that left hip. Remembering those hips, they store a lot of stuff in there, so don't sweat it if you start to feel a little fidgety. Right, that's those ugly emotions, the anger, the shame, the sadness, the frustration. So just working through the deep tissue. Some of that may come up, and that's okay. Just be with it, just allow it. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to try to notice what it is. Just allow it to be what it is. If that makes any sense at all. But really what I'm trying to say is just allow, just having a mindset of whatever comes up is okay, that you don't bring any judgment to it. You don't have to understand it. And just find those moments of stillness. Find those moments where the breath and the mind and the physical body all connect. And just allow yourself to let go deeper and deeper. So if you had that right foot flex, maybe you feel like just releasing for the last minute here. And just notice the sensations, notice the energy body. That's that tingling that you might feel in areas. Our energy body supports our physical body. It communicates all the time. And it passes information through the body. So if we're feeling stressed, it passes information through the body that we're in distress and that we should prepare our bodies for danger
But if we're in the rest and digest, where we're feeling content, joy, happiness, then that's the information that's passed through the body. It's passed saying that it's time to rebuild, rejuvenate, restore, strengthen. And for me personally, that's the area, that's the mindset, the energy that I want to stay in. I want to constantly be healing and rejuvenating through my body. I don't want my body to feel like it's under attack all the time. We'll just take one more round of breath here. And then just slowly roll back up. We're gonna uncross that left leg. Take a moment, maybe bring a little movement. And then we'll bring that right foot to the outside of the left knee this time. Extend that left leg nice and long. Take a nice long inhale through the core. Wrap that left arm around that right leg. Bring that right hand behind. Again, nice and tall as you inhale. Exhale to find that twist. Again, doing your best to soften and let go. So bringing that right shoulder away from the ear. Try not to collapse into that back hand, so you're pushing away from the back floor. And just ride your breath here. So as you inhale, try to add to that elongation happening through the trunk. And as you exhale, only if it feels right to deepen the twist. If it doesn't feel right to deepen it, just exhale into the twist that you're at. We're just here for about another 4 rounds of breath. Twisting is a wonderful thing to do for our spine. We need to move our spine in all 6 directions that the range of motion that it has. So forward and back, side to side, twist to twist. It also is great for our abdominal organs, so twisting through our intestines and all the major organs in our abdominal, giving them a little wring out like a sponge. So wringing out the old stale blood, and as we come out of the twist, it allows the body to bring fresh, oxygenated blood back into those regions. Just really gives them a helping hand. And when you're ready, we'll just bring our gaze back first, and then our whole self. Nice job. We'll fully cross that right knee over the left again and find our nice forward fold. So again, just really shine and open up that heart of yours. And as you exhale, just bring it down forward. Maybe you're flexing that left foot to start with. You can probably see my terrible feet. I need a pedicure desperately. But wherever you're at, so whether maybe your flex foot to begin with, just allow your head to bow forward. You can tuck that chin in. You can soften the eyes or close the eyelids. And just really allow this fabulous forward fold to happen. So targeting so many areas here. The back of that left leg, into the hips, the spine. Again, just really utilize that breath. Really trying to find that stillness, that real rest and digest energy. That's the goods. That's what we want for life. Unfortunately, we spend so much time in that fight and flight, that stress. That's when that yucky cortisone kicks in, and it's super harmful for the body. It's like battery acid for the body when we're in that mindset. All that information gets passed physically to the body, and our body goes into this attack mode as if we're being attacked. It doesn't understand it's just a movie or it's just the news. It just gets this signal from the brain to say that we're stressed out and we're under attack. And so it goes into overdrive, the blood thickens up, our heart rate speeds up. And over time, all this stress on the body, all this battery acid that's flowing through the body, of cortisone and other awful hormones that are released when we're under attack, over time that creates weakness in our body. And after weakness, that's areas that disease can move in. So the more we can stay with this rest and digest, this really empowered state physically and energetically, the stronger our bodies are. They'll be constantly rejuvenating and strengthening, rebuilding, detoxifying. If we're always in that state, the likelihood of disease moving in is slim. And that takes a lot of things. That takes not having stress mentally, but it also means not putting stress physically in the body, meaning nutrition-wise. So the more you can have a balanced diet, whole foods, clean diet, whatever works for you, but to really keep that stress out too. Processed food is a stressor as well for the body, just as mental stress. So if you can really keep the mental stress and the nutrition on track and move your body daily and find time for mindfulness, whether it's meditation in some form, you're sitting on the top shelf. So if you have that left foot flexed, you can go ahead and relax that for the last minute here and just really find that new edge. So maybe you can come a little bit deeper. Maybe you can soften a little bit more. If you notice the mind has drifted off, you can bring it back to your breath. And really here is a great way just to ride that breath. So as you inhale, you can fill up the spine, the vertebrae. And as you exhale, you can really soften more deeply into the fold. And don't be scared to find any adjustments in any pose, in any practice that you're doing in Yin Yoga, really in any style of yoga. Don't sweat that there's some magic alignment. There really isn't. Physical poses were only created to support a mental practice of yoga. So they were to move your body, and yes, in certain ways, but it was also you can sit in silence. So really move away from that need to have a perfect pose or a perfect alignment. That is so 10 years ago. We'll just take 3 more rounds of breath here. And again, in your own time, no rush. We'll just slowly bring ourselves back up. Uncross that knee, and we're gonna find our final pose of Savasana. So just allowing yourself to lie back on your mat. If lying on your back is a little bit much for the lower spine, especially after coming out of that forward fold, you can always use your blocks or your blanket or whatever you have and place them under the knees for some support. If that still doesn't seem like quite enough for you, you can bend the knees, knock them together, and have the feet as wide as your mat. So just finding an ultimate resting pose for yourself. So a position where you can fully let go and what we call rebound. So when we talked about finding new alignment, that's exactly what happens in your rebound. So we've stretched, we've pulled, we've twisted all these tissues. And now as we lie in stillness, we allow these tissues to realign, find their best position possible after the work that we just did. So make any adjustment that you may need to, whether it's to take a swallow or roll the head from side to side. Then close the eyes and really just find this great rebound for yourself for the 2 minutes here as we encourage all dimensions of who we are to fully let go and soften. So we soften our physical body by letting go through our feet. We allow the legs to be heavy. We soften any tension in our belly. And we just allow that breath to become natural. Allow it to be effortless. We encourage our chest to soften. We encourage our heart to open. Allowing the energy from our heart to start spreading through the chest and spreading out through the entire body as we continue to relax our neck and release our jaw, allowing the eyelids to become a little bit heavier. And finally, release that brain. Just allow it to fall to the back of the skull. And just giving yourself permission for the next minute just to be. Just slowly bring your attention back. Bring it back to the breath as you take a nice inhale through the nose and a nice sigh through the mouth. Bring a little bit of physical movement by wiggling the toes and the fingers. You could rotate the wrists and the ankles. Bring your arms overhead. Just give yourself a nice stretch. You can tuck those knees in for a nice hug. Even roll a little bit from side to side, just massage that lower spine. And then just rolling on to a side, that fetal position. Take a round or two of breath there. And then just working your way up to an easy sitting pose. Whatever that looks like for you is just perfect. You can close the eyes again if you'd like for one last moment. If it serves you to bring your palms together and your hands at heart center. You can bow the forehead down and just take one last moment to go in and notice that energy dimension of who you are. Notice the essence, the sensations that you're feeling, both physically and mentally. And just turn up the sides of your mouth and just give yourself a little thank you for taking the time to honor all dimensions of who you are and to encourage that state of rejuvenation, of healing. And I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining in and offering up your practice today. I hope this practice nourished your mind, your body, and your spirit. Namaste.